Good afternoon, students of class 6. Welcome to history class. We are reading unit 6, some important countries and people of ancient East. And our lesson for today is section 2, Egypt. You have learned about Egypt while reading River Valley Civilization. Today we will learn little more about Egypt and Egyptian civilization. The Egyptian king was called Pharaoh. You already know it. The word Pharaoh is derived from Pharaoh, which means palace. Thus, the person who lives in a palace was a Pharaoh. Now, the Pharaoh was regarded as the son of god Re. It was commonly believed that all the natural phenomena, such as the rise of the sun, change of season, and the like, were nothing but the wishes of the Pharaoh. So you can understand that how respectfully the Egyptians regarded their Pharaoh. So they almost considered them next to God. The Pharaoh ran the administration of the kingdom with the assistance of a number of officials. Of course, Pharaoh was the all powerful man, and the officials had to abide by him. So, Pharaoh was the most powerful person on Egyptian civilization, and he used to run his kingdom with the help of his officials who used to abide by all his commands. However, the most important officials were the priests, whose position was next to that of the Pharaoh. Menes, Khufu, Tutankhamun, etc. were powerful pharaohs. Queen Hatshepsut was the first woman to ascend the throne of Egypt, and after that, many women sat on the throne of Egypt. Now, in the Pyramid Age, the pharaohs were very powerful, but in the course of time, their power declined and their hold waned. So, with time, the power of pharaohs became less, and at that time, the local governors or magistrates snatched away the power from the pharaoh, who practically was reduced to a nominal head. So there was pharaoh, but the main power resided in the hands of local governors or magistrates. They became more powerful in comparison to pharaohs. The local governors became hereditary and increasingly independent of the pharaohs. Local governors were usually feudal lords. So, in Egyptian culture, also, you see this concept of feudalism crept into. Who became the feudal lords? The local governors became the feudal lords, and hence, with this age is popularly known as feudal age in Egypt. In the feudal age, a king was not at all powerful, and he was there. The king, that is the pharaoh, was there, but he was just a nominal head. Main powers resided in the hands of local governors. Thus, many administrative islands, as it were, emerged in the feudal period, rendering the king a non-entity. And as there was no powerful rule of king during this feudal age, what happened? After some time, the control of the country had passed over to the foreigners, Hyksos as they were called. So naturally, there was no unified rule, and the entire kingdom was divided into many small kingdoms which were ruled by these feudal lords, that is, the local governors. And naturally, as there was no unity among them, foreigners started attacking this region. After about a century, Pharaoh Ahmose I liberated Egypt from the foreign rule by defeating the Hyksos. Then he curbed the powers of the local governors and unified Egypt into a powerful land. After waging a prolonged warfare with the Hyksos, the Egyptians' attitude was to changed. The pharaoh and the common people of Egypt became now lovers of peace. But a kind of warlike attitude developed in them as soon as they started a military offensive against the foreigners. That is why, during the reign of the successor of Ahmose I, Egypt turned into an imperialist power. The term imperialism means occupation or domination of country by another. The Egyptian warriors and rulers' ambition of occupying various countries and nations by fair means or foul gave rise to imperialistic tendency in Egypt. They wanted to bring several other territories within their kingdom. The pharaohs, after Ahmose I, were able military generals and they built a huge army consisting of efficient archers and charioteers. Besides, the Egyptian soldiers learned various war techniques from the Hyksos. This type of army enabled the pharaohs to expand their empire. So they learned from the foreigners how to fight efficiently, and with that knowledge of theirs, they wanted to expand their kingdom, and in doing so, they brought together several other territories within their reign. Credit for the conquest belonged chiefly to Amenhotep I and his son Thutmose I. They conquered different parts of Asia. It is said that Thutmose I laid the boundary stone of his empire on the banks of Euphrates River. He used to get regular tribute from the rulers of vanquished territories. So these two pharaohs of Egypt expanded their territory from the existing one. But the most important pharaoh who expanded the territory of Egyptian rule was obviously Thutmose III. He was called the Egyptian Napoleon as he was the greatest conqueror. He spent the major portion of his reign in warfare and expansion of the Egyptian empire. It is believed that he carried on inroads into various parts of Asia for nearly 16 times. So during his reign, he invaded different parts of uh, or the different neighboring areas of Egypt, and he brought those places into his kingdom. He expanded Egyptian empire from Cyprus to the Zagros mountain and from Sinai to the border of Armenia. Every colony used to pay annual tribute to him regularly. Each colony had Egyptian garrison quartered in it, and the pharaoh appointed royal inspectors there. It was the duty of those inspectors to prevent any possible trouble in the colonies. The Egyptian empire, however, did not last long. After the reign of Thutmose III, rebellion broke out in these colonies. While the pharaoh's power was being challenged in Asia, there came upon the throne of pharaoh named Amenhotep IV, who tried his hand at the unification of the Egyptian empire on a novel religious method and incurred the strong displeasure and hostility of the priest. coupled with the weakness of pharaohs, the foreign aggression endangered the freedom of Egypt. At long last, the Persian occupied Egypt in 525 BC. So we see how Egyptians lost their glory to this foreign invasion. Now the power of priest in Egypt. Now, as I discussed earlier, that next to Pharaoh, the most important person in Egypt was the priest. The pharaohs of Egypt bestowed a portion of the valuables and precious things they collected from the conquests to gods in temples and to the servants of gods, that is the priests. So whatever these pharaohs collected from their conquests, they used to give a certain portion to the priests and in the temple. And as priests were the servants of God, naturally they got this wealth that is given to these temples. They too received that wealth. The common people also used to make presents to God and the priests in order to get blessings from them. All this naturally made priests a wealthy clan. So, common people and the pharaohs, both of them used to give wealth to the temples, and priests, being this owner of these temples, they used to get this wealth. Ammon, the main god of Thebes, the contemporary capital of Egypt, was the richest god in Egypt. So naturally we can understand that pharaohs and the common people used to give more wealth to the temple of this god Ammon, and that is why he was considered as the richest god of Egypt. The temple of Ammon contained unthinkable volume of wealth and property. Naturally, the priests of the temple of Ammon were also very rich and wealthy. They even tried to wrest certain powers from the pharaohs themselves. So they became, with money, this priest of this temple of god Ammon became very powerful, and they wanted to exercise that power on the pharaohs too. So naturally there developed some collision or clash between the pharaoh and the priests. Amenhotep IV aimed at curbing the power of the priests through the adoption of a new religion. This engendered severe hostility between the pharaoh and the priests. So this pharaoh, who was ruling at that point of time, Amenhotep IV, he wanted to curb the power of the priest. Curb means to make less. So as the priests became powerful, they wanted to exercise their power on pharaohs too. This pharaoh wanted to reduce the power of priest, and he wanted to start a new religion. And with this, what happened, there became a collision between the priests and the pharaoh. This pharaoh wanted to replace the worship of many gods by that of universal sun god Aton. He closed down the temples of the old gods and expelled the priests of their duties. So what he did, he, with an aim to curb the power of the priest, he wanted to shut down all other temples, and he wanted to worship only one god, that is the sun god Aton. So he closed down all the temples of old gods, and he expelled, he had thrown out all the priests who used to work in those temples. He thought that Egyptians might forget the old gods. Temples were built to Aton all over the country. In order to please Aton, he even assumed the name Akhenaton or Akhenaton, which means beloved of Aton. It is by this name also he was known in history. He shifted his capital to Ekhenaton. Besides, he composed many hymns glorifying the sun god Aton. But this was also very short lived. He, this Amenhotep IV, he wanted to worship only one god, that is sun god. And why he wanted to do this? He wanted to lessen the power of the priest, and for that he wanted uh, to worship only sun god. And with that aim, he demolished all other temples and built only temples of sun god. After the death of this pharaoh Amenhotep IV, again the priests became powerful, and his successors, they shifted the capital to the original capital at Thebes. And again the god Ammon was worshipped. So that was all for today. Now you read this section from your book and see whether you are having any problem understanding it or not. If you are having any problem, then please send your query at the given mail ID. Thank you.